So Gaku just got jumped by Shin and friends. Willingly, he volunteered as tribute. This happened 2 weeks ago. I was there, saw the entire thing. Netflix sold me the ticket to the front row seat of the fight, and it was great. The best fight so far, animation-wise, they really just turned it up a gear on this one. And Gaku's great, love seeing him in action, he's a cool-ass character, so it's always sick to see him throw hands. So yeah, here we go. So previously, Sakamoto and Shin took the JCC entrance exam, the shitfest happened, Sakamoto and Shin made new friends, cameraman appears, plane goes kaboom, people fall, some land and live, some land and die. Then the examiners come up with the third test, but before that, 3 more students join in that were recommended by professional hitmen and agencies. And they didn't want to deal with the bloody orgy on the plane, so they got here by boat and was also able to avoid falling 120 miles an hour, which apparently a lot of people survived. Somehow, guess they must have learned the double jump technique mid-fall or some shit. So this guy's Kachi, he's super chill, he seems like a quiet, nonchalant dickhead, but he's completely misunderstood, he's simply socially awkward. And this girl's Toromaru, she's Sakamoto's crazy fan. And lastly, we got Shinaya, and he exists. Then we cut over to Uzuki and friends, and these guys are the CEOs of unpredictability. They're just doing the most random shit, they're having a karaoke session. So for the third stage of the exam, they'll be playing tail tag. They're all divided into random groups, each group has its own colored tail, and they need to steal tails. And they're doing this because they're trying to minimize the killing, otherwise this year's classroom would just be dead air. Sakamoto and Shin are on different teams. Kill Baby farmed a lot of good karma, so he gets to hop in Sakamoto's backpack. Overall, it's a relatively chill exam except for these guys who run into Toromaru cause she misheard tail tag as kill everyone you fucking see. And Shin and friends are next up on the cutting board. Meanwhile, Sakamoto's chillin', he made a whole ass house, and Kill Baby gets the privilege of having a taste of the sewer worm tea, a camping classic. Then some random dude runs past them and tells them to run. Kill Baby has no idea what the fuck's going on, but that guy's running, so he starts running. And this activated Glasses Man's trap card, and a net comes flying, and the 3 get trapped. So King Baby is not only extremely disrespectful with the way he treated that magnificent drink that was kindly offered to him, but he's also dead weight and he brings shit to the team. And the net is pretty tough, so this guy says they'll kill them and take their tails off their dead bodies, but the shooter suffers from short-term memory loss and he blows everything up. So obviously the tail's fucking gone at that point. And over at Shin, he gets ambushed by Toromaru, but he's able to avoid her attack, and Seba comes in with a back kick, damn near lost his Achilles tendon with that one. And Toromaru's handmade Sakamoto keychain gets damaged, so she's about to start fucking asses. And back to Sakamoto, he's able to block the explosive with his vibranium apron. Honestly, what is that shit made of? Shit's stronger than a Nokia phone. Then Akira realizes this net is completely ass and trips out of it, cleanly, not a single contact with the net. And Akira dodges the bullets raining down on her, and these guys pull up. This guy starts dropping some wise words like he asked him by the chokehold, so he needs better glasses because that guy just blocked all his shit with a fucking apron. Matter of fact, he's bulletproof in this scene. So Akira locks in, she doesn't want to be a spectator for the rest of her life and lose all the people she cares about. So she goes in on Glasses Guy and completely one-shots him. He doesn't even know what hit him, he's still thinking about what the phrase he said earlier meant. So these guys said, "Hell no," and they start running, but Akira's hungry for more, she's gonna make sure tail tag is the last game they ever get to play in their lives. However, Sakamoto comes in, calms her down, and shit is pretty serious when Sakamoto, the man himself, gotta hold her down like she weighs 260. Sakamoto goes over to the guy and he's like, "Wow, shit. She just fingered his carotid artery in an instant. That's tough." Then she explains that she simply followed the path to killing. And this reminded Sakamoto of his old days with his friend Akao, who sees the same thing. Back then, these 3, they were the big 3. Akao's an absolute banger, bone out of 10, super pumped to see her fight in the future. Sakamoto then finds out that Akira's last name is Akao, and she's Rion's niece. Rion is the baddie, and she's here to find her. Meanwhile, Shin and friends are running away from Toromaru and they fall off a cliff and into the water. The current tries to assassinate Shin and Seba, but Kachi pulls out his log from his pants and saves the 2. And Toromaru swings in like she's Tarzan, almost gave us a front row seat to ass, but she got shorts on, and she became a Sakamoto fan. Audacity just gave up on me, but she became a Sakamoto fan because he saved her, and ever since then she became the biggest Limoto fan. She transforms into the best version of herself in case she meets him one day, that way she can make the perfect first impression, or second. So her obsession with Sakamoto may seem extremely unhealthy, but she got that self-improvement going on, that's pretty good. Then she lands, and Shin's gotta fight her solo because Seba is seasick, and Kachi is busy sitting there looking like an absolute menace, providing emotional support, and he just accidentally let out a silent wet fart. So he's got a lot on his plate right now, he can't join. So Shin cracks his neck, and Toromaru goes, "Oh shit, you too are a Sakamoto fan, that's the Sakamoto classic." So she starts geeking out like me watching the Demon Slayer movie in theaters, the most amount of loads I've busted in 2 hours and 30 minutes. So she's glad she found herself another massive Sakamoto fan. However, once Shin starts yapping, she starts getting pissed because she's the ultimate fan, not him. And that's when the battle between the biggest Sakamoto fan in history and the biggest Sakamoto fan of today begins. So she goes in, Shin ulted immediately, Toromaru comes in with a wide swing, Shin pulls back, backflips to the other side, almost lost his eyeballs, pulls out the ostrich stance for a split second to scare her back, hits her with a double kick but gets blocked. She swings up, took off 2 hairs on his chin, turns around, stares into the distance, swipes up, Shin manages to keep his legs, gets up and jumps back to the other side. Then Toromaru starts spinning her weapon, about to take off and fly like a helicopter, realizes it doesn't work and turns it into an attack. So the two are now on shallow water, movements are no longer limited. Toromaru swings at Shin, trying her best to take him out, but Shin's very slippery and he hits her with a spinning back kick. Did you see that shit? Here, I'll show it again in case you fell asleep and missed it. That motherfucker Shin just slapped away water like it's fucking oobleck. What is going on? Toromaru RF arms for a bit, then she detaches the axe from her weapon, throws it at him, and tries to put a hole in his forehead, but Shin said fuck no. Backflip. And in this scene right here, we find out Kachi's a really chill guy. This is probably my favorite scene in this entire episode.
俺が助立ちする流れなのか。なんて声かけたらいいんだ。よう、加勢するぜ。ってなんか、こいつ何も言わずに加勢するか。声かけられるまで待とう。
Yeah, he seems like a great character. Meanwhile, Shin's still fucking dodging, he must have forgotten about the 5-minute limit he has. And finally, he lands a clean kick to her neck, but Toromaru forgot to take damage and she goes in with another swing. And she starts spraying him down, so Shin tries to come up with a plan, and a plan comes up. So he's trying to push her to a certain location, hits her with the left, left, jump kicks her, and she ends up falling off a cliff. Another Shin W, that's 2 in a row, very rare. Usually he just gets fucked over and Sakamoto has to come in. However, he hears her drowning with his powers, so he decides to jump in, brings her back up, so once she wakes up, she asks, why did he save her? And he says, because that's what Sakamoto would have done. So, after realizing how much of a fan Shin is, she decides to give up her #1 fan title and pass it on to him, much like Nanami, she said, you've got it from here. So we get some good vibes going on, Shin's about to make another friend, we'll get Kachi, Seba, Toromaru, Shin's really just forming the thunderbolts here. That is downright diabolical, she flew like a chicken. So Shinaya has been hijacked by Gaku in a VR headset. Technology is getting real good, we even got an assassin working from home now. And it's not looking exactly the greatest for Toromaru, I don't think she's feeling too good. So the other two finally caught up to Shin and they notice Shinaya gently stroking an invisible penis and he pinches the balls, checking for tumors. Shin is visibly horrified watching this. Then we see Gaku taking off his headset and asking their friend why isn't it working. So intelligence is not his expertise, he definitely didn't put a single point into that stat. So he slides his headset back on and they got his ass. So all the examiners are here and he's being disqualified since he doesn't have a tail on him. And he killed a bunch of people, not exactly ideal, so this guy puts him down and Yellow Hat Man doesn't know it yet but he's already dead. So over here Gaku's utilizing the I'm AFK strat, the oldest trick in the book. So once this guy lets his guard down, he slaps it with a hand, grabs this guy by the neck. And let's take a look at that one more time. Look how much force he put into grabbing this guy's neck. This is personal, he does not like this guy, he does not like people with sunglasses. So he drags him across the floor and he uses him like a weapon and decimates everyone. Luckily, these guys came prepared with a sniper in case shit turns to shit. Yeah, we're cooked. And this guy's over here talking about, not bad. Next thing he knows, he's having a 69 makeout session with a corpse. So this girl comes in, slams down with her weapon. I'm surprised it actually did damage because that weapon looks like absolute ass. 2 knives are pointing toward her, the weapon looks like it was made by a drunk person with the sole purpose of making it the most inefficient weapon possible. So Gaku goes in, he picks her up by the ankle and throws her across the river, making her the first person to do gymnastics on water, but the fun police had to come in and stop her performance. -1 anime girl. Tragic day. Oh yeah, we're fucked. You guys better run. You young people still have a future ahead of you. It may not be bright, but at least you won't be dead. Damn right, makes a good point. However, Shin's not leaving because he realizes when will he become strong enough if he keeps running away in the face of danger, in the face of a formidable opponent. So he'll be standing his ground this time and he'll face reality. So Shin's dying, Gaku runs in, Shin immediately pops his ult, and is dead. He's at his limits from his previous fight. Luckily, Toromaru isn't dead, and with the help of Seba, the two come in and stop Gaku from killing Shin. So the three jump him, Shin comes in with a right hand, Seba with a left kick, but the two get both their faces grabbed. Terrible PR for these two, they're definitely not making it into the order once they pull up this footage during the interview. Pack it up buddy, it's wraps. Then they get tossed away and a kick flies in, Shin's able to block it, luckily, otherwise his head would have just flown off his neck. Then finally Kachi joins in and he instantly realizes something's wrong because he has super hearing and Shinaya's heartbeat is extremely slow, like he's asleep. And he also hears some machine noise. Then Toromaru starts shooting at him and Shin and Gaku jump at each other, recreating a baby version of Mark vs. Conquest. Shin dodges the straight right mid-air, throws out his right, hits the forearm, Gaku slaps it away and hits a clean kick to the body. Then Toromaru throws her axe, Shin grabs it with style, charges it, Gojo fight the air, and all of a sudden, Shinaya starts wobbling. So turns out Gaku ran into a fucking wall. These guys didn't do a single thing to him. So it's explained that Shinaya is a random guy they found after posting an ad on Facebook, so they hired him and he's pretty solid since his body has the ability to withstand Gaku's moves like this dislocating hip kick. And their main purpose here is to test the students and see which one they can recruit into the team. So he's going to fist fight them and take the last one standing. Now I'd like to discuss the flaws of this method. It is simply not fair, obviously not a single one of them here could beat him. So if he goes on candidate A first and takes him out, does that mean candidate A is weaker than candidate B and C? Not really, you can't tell. So I advise him to use Shadow Clone Jutsu and take them all on at the same time. So then Gaku speed blitzes all three of them, and Seba is candidate A. Victim number 1. So Seba just kissed the floor and Gaku goes in for the thirst immediately. Then he teleports in behind Toromaru, almost gave her the Rebecca treatment if it weren't for Kachi. Fuck you Atom Smasher, you piece of shit. And Seba isn't dead, so Kachi tries to grab him and escape, but Seba's not leaving because Shin's words earlier were simply too inspirational. He can't leave right now, you gotta beat this guy. Then Toromaru comes in with the assist. She puts Seba on her weapon and throws him at Gaku, but Seba's not Wolverine and she's not the Hulk, so he gets hit. However, he did crack his goggles a little. That's not nothing. And after seeing such courageous act, Kachi is also getting inspired, so he's like, damn, everyone's so ass but so cool, I wish I could just be as cool and not as ass. Well, it's time to join the cool club. We were just looking for another member, Shin said, cause he heard Kachi's mind cause he has superpowers. So now Gaku lost a bit of vision and Kachi tells Shin that Shinaya is being controlled and the goggles are the headset. Then Gaku jumps in and Kachi pushes Shin away so he can avoid the attack, and the ground breaks from the impact of his punch. So Shin's like, how the fuck did you do that? Then Kachi explains that he's able to dodge the blow because he can hear the slight punching sounds leaking through Shinaya's headset. So he can hear the sound of real Gaku throwing a punch, and it takes 0.5 seconds before Shinaya could register that punch and turns it into his action. So that's a pretty big flaw. Essentially Gaku's playing on 500 ping, and he is still fucking everyone up. From the very bottom of my soul, that shit is extremely disturbing. The physical damage from this can be recovered, but the psychological damage from getting fucked over by a dude using one hand on 500 ping is something you'll never be able to live down. He'll be waking up in cold sweats having nightmares about this shit. However, only Kachi can hear this, so the plan is, Shin will read his mind. That way he too can avoid Gaku's attacks. I really like this. I think it's really cool they're able to perform a little wombo combo here with their abilities. Very awesome. Yeah, never mind, this shit is ass. So by the time Kachi is able to put what he heard into words in his head, it's too late. Then Shin eats another kick straight to the face, so he said, fuck it, I gotta pop my ult again. And ideally, he can only use it for 5 minutes and it has a 24-hour cooldown. Not exactly the greatest ult, he deserves a massive buff. The cooldown is downright unholy, disgustingly long. 24 hours for 5 minutes, Jesus Christ, I better be able to see the future of my afterlife with that shit. And today he already used it for 7 minutes. So he dodges the destructive left from Gaku and he uses his power to see into Kachi's future. So then the two go in and he's able to dodge to the left. Then a right comes in, but he jumps up, lands a clean spin kick. Shin almost goes into cardiac arrest to land that kick. So Gaku's like, hold on, shit's getting interesting, let me put down my drink, shit's better get real good here. So these guys are busting their asses off and Gaku wasn't even trying. He wasn't even entertained. A fat spit on their faces. Then we get some nice stuff here. Gaku comes in jumping, trying to crack his skull. Shin sidesteps, goes for the right hand, gets blocked. Gaku hits him with a spin kick. Kachi pulls up, tries to hit him with a jump scare, spooked him a little. Ooh. Then he gets grabbed and thrown away like a toddler. Really don't know what the fuck he's trying to achieve with that move. He kinda just pulled up, grabbed him. Maybe he's trying to take off the goggles. Anyway, Shin's fucking back. He comes in low, right hook gets blocked, a straight left hits the forearm and another right gets blocked again, and the left hits the arm once again. This is just tough. How is he blocking on 500 ping? Is he simply that fast? Is Gaku moving 0.5 seconds before anything could happen? Is he from the future? So Shin flips away and Kachi tells him to buy time and he's about to start cooking. Shin couldn't believe his earballs, he couldn't believe what he just fucking heard because with the state he's in, he's using every muscle in his body just to stop himself from shitting his pants. But Gaku quickly runs in, not giving him the opportunity to explain all that, so he has no choice, so he goes in. The two's fists slide off each other, and Shin's left hand pushes Gaku's left, then his face tasted a right hand from the past. However, he's still got more time to buy, so he gotta start buying the time is currently being bought. Then he comes back, gets his punch, blocked again, and Gaku charges up for a mean left. Saved his face from getting caved in. Then he counters with a left, right, and kicks him away. But Gaku comes back in and lands a clean body shot. Meanwhile, Kachi's getting himself hyped up, blasting some Brazilian funk into his eardrums, giving him the power to copy his opponent's move. He sidesteps the punch, and he gives him a taste of his own medicine. And don't worry, that's not all. Shin did not eat all those punches just for Kachi to land one mediocre hit that barely did any damage. Kachi has learned everything about how Gaku moves. He has fully adapted to his movements. He knows exactly which card Gaku is going to play next. Then Shin kicks rocks fall, but he dodges. But now Kachi's gaming, so he comes in and he's not trying to hit him with the jump scare method anymore, he's actually trying to hurt the guy. So he throws out his right and he quickly follows it with a back fist. Didn't want that straight right to connect anyway, it was a warning shot, scared him real good. So Gaku starts going on the defensive, so Shin's like, oh no, he's going to get away. No, buddy, I can't tell. Not everyone has ears as sensitive as a penis after ejaculation. So Kachi wants to force him into a corner and he takes a page out of Genesis book, hits him with the machine gun blow. Shout out One Punch Man, season 3 coming soon, hopefully that shit's getting saved. Personal opinion, think it's getting butchered. Then Gaku runs into a wall just like how Kachi envisioned, allowing Shin to come in with a kick, but Gaku doesn't believe in walls, so he just punches anyway. But Shin came prepared, he knew he was going for that, so he goes low, feinted a blowjob, made him look down, which created space for Kachi to come in from above. And Shin makes a fast, sharp turn, so the two are now coming at Gaku from both sides, front and back. However, Gaku's not out of options. He pushes Shinaya's body past his limits. Shinaya's bones starts exploding, they're popping out of places, it sounds god-awful. And shit, we get another apart moment. A cool-ass character joins the team just to get fucked over immediately. GG. Then he claps real hard, he bursts Kachi's eardrums, but don't worry, I'm sure Granny can heal him and he'll be back in the team in no time, he's fine. And now Shin's getting a heart attack from overusing his ability and Gaku gets behind him and hits him pretty hard. So now it's over, we're fucked. Gaku walks up to him, stands there menacingly, gave him the disappointed look, he just lost to a guy who uses a potato for his internet. However, Sakamoto comes in at the very last moment and he sends Gaku flying with a kick, but Gaku gets back up and he goes in. Sakamoto dodges the right hand, and the water starts spilling out of the walls. So he tells Shin to grab Kachi, they'll split up, he'll do the rescuing and he'll do the ass beating. So Shin's not just dead weight this time. So once Shin climbs up, Sakamoto smacks the wall behind him, making water gush out into the cave. Then the two start fist fighting underwater, and just take a look at this shit. If the tears from my eyes could speak, they'd tell you this scene is incredibly moving. So the two fly out the side of the cliff, crash into the plane they came in. Then Sakamoto locks that man up. He's not very happy with the way this guy treated Shin. So he tosses him back and he follows him, charges him down with his thunderous footsteps. The spirits of all the dead people on this plane could feel the vibration of that shit. Unleashes an unholy amount of punches and pushes him back with a back kick. However, Gaku is horny for more, so Sakamoto starts venting, pops up behind him with a suitcase, backflips the kick, had him hit the honored one pose, quickly goes in to smack him with the suitcase, but Gaku's able to yank a piece off the floor to block it. Then Sakamoto grabs a passport, plants it onto his face, and sends him flying at the plane. And as Gaku's catching his breath, trying to figure out where Sakamoto's gonna pop out of, he gets sent flying into the air. So Sakamoto stomps the other wing of the plane, then he spawns in the plane's wheels, he starts spinning that bitch, puts it down, jumps on it, and he uses the side of the plane as a ramp to fly up and catch up to Gaku. And he gave Shinaya permanent brain damage. Then the VR headset breaks and Shinaya falls through the plane's wing. An absolute masterclass coming in here from Sakamoto. Shinaya unfortunately won't be joining the JCC anytime soon or even move in general, he'll be peeing in a tube for a few months. Also, the way Sakamoto fought here really feels like how Saitama would fight when he started flying with the wheels of the plane. So that's pretty cool. So the exam's been cut short and this guy lived, so did the flight attendant who looks really off, she looks like someone's wearing her flesh. So 7 people passed the test: Sakamoto, Shin, Mafuyu Seba, Toromaru, Akira, Kachi, and Kill Baby. An absolute crime is happening right in front of my very eyes. Then the examiners ask, why is the legendary hitman here? And Toromaru hears this, so she has a stroke, realizing Slim Moto is no more, there's only Fat Moto. And she fell to her knees, and that is why you never want to meet your heroes, because sometimes they're dickheads and they piss on your face, and other times, they're fat. Then the real Shinaya wakes up and this guy tells him that once the helicopter arrives, he'll be placed in the penis explosion chamber. So he's like, what the fuck's going on? I didn't do any of that. And he want to keep his schlong, so he starts dropping all the information he has on the person who hired him, so Sakamoto wonders, why would Izuki interfere with the entrance exam? And Kachi tells him that they're trying to recruit more people into their team. He heard it. Then Akira thanks Sakamoto for all the help he's given her, and a bunch of helicopters come over to pick them up. But the one Seba and Toromaru got on got hijacked by 2 JoJo characters. That's Kanaguri, we met him, he's working with Izuki, he's a crazy film guy. And that's Carolina Reaper. So they brought them in, trying to have them join the team. Then we see the Order members, these 3, Shishiba, Nagumo, Osuragi. These 3 are great, love seeing them. So they're called in for a mission, and they have to scratch these scratchers to find out what their job is. Very cool, and they come in pictures, so it's very illiterate friendly, 0 language barrier here. And it says, X, building, magnifying glass, gun, broken, a juice box, and a butt plug. So obviously this means they're assigned to investigate the murders of hitmen in Kyoto, and X left his stain there, so it's related to Uzuki. And the broken gun means Uzuki caused damage, and the juice box symbolizes leakage in the system from the dead hitmen, so now their mission, should they choose to accept, they gotta plug up that hole with the butt plug. Then we learn that the JAA is the one dealing with all the crime in Japan, and without it, Japan would be flooded with criminals. So the police forgot to do their job, and Osuragi also won a prize. 20,000 yen. Nice. Then Sakamoto's daughter comes in to meet everyone. She's really cute, love seeing her, and she came in with 2 letters from the JCC. It's their exam results. So Shin placed first, top of the leaderboard, meanwhile Sakamoto failed because fuck him, fuck Fat Moto. No, it's because he has a massive bounty on his head, and a person with a bounty on their head can't be admitted. Then Nagumo spawns in, rage baits Sakamoto for a bit, and he suggests he joins the JCC as a teacher instead. And he reveals that he was also planning on joining the JCC as a teacher, however he got work to do in Kyoto, so he's offering his spot to Sakamoto, but Sakamoto is still Sakamoto even if he were to go in as a teacher, so that wouldn't work. However, Nagumo came prepared for that and he changes Sakamoto's appearance into that of his wife. And we see Akira, it's her first day of school, and she gets a nice warm friendly welcome, a half-dead man being escorted on a stretcher. Then Akira gets to her first class a little late, and the teacher almost assassinates her, and he instantly asks her to participate in an activity knowing damn well she has no idea what the fuck's going on. A very classic teacher move, an ability apparently all teachers unlock once they get the job. So Akira will be participating in close quarters combat against this guy with a very real knife, a very sharp real knife, just right in front of the class. I'd like to wonder how this school is even allowed to operate, but then once again the entire country heavily depends on an assassin association. So anything could really happen at this point. I could fart so hard I fly out of my chair and my head stick through the roof and I end up in the anime. So this guy thinks she's ass and wants to prank her with a little jump scare by slitting her throat. However, this activated Agent Akira, but before she could rip his head off with her bare hands, Sakamoto comes in and beats him up. And yeah, that is it. That is where part 2 ends. So Sakamoto will be attending the school as a teacher, and Shin is also here. He's taking a fat shit while reading the hit popular manga series Sakamoto Days. Love that shit. On a more important matter, Demon Slayer Infinity Castle movie, that shit was really good. I damn near started crying when the movie started just because of how beautiful everything was. When Gyomei started speaking and my seat started vibrating a little, I knew we were in for a treat. And I was not wrong, I was geeking the fuck out throughout the entire movie. Every single scene that popped up, I was throwing up my hands going absolute cinema. I didn't actually do all that. But Akasa's scene, the waterfall popping up and shit, that shit was cool as hell. And also the OSTs are awesome. I damn near just started fucking...